Hello, and welcome everybody. Happy Friday. On to another weekend. Finally, Jesus Christ, what a long week this was for me. It was tough at work, tough in the gym. I just, for whatever reason, physically was not able to just get my best effort at the gym this week. Maybe just I need a little bit more sleep, but again, didn't sleep well. Just a really long week. I wouldn't say a bad week, but a long week, if that makes sense. Like you're just like, damn, it just kind of feels like time has slowed down. Yeah, that was the type of week that I had. But hope everyone is doing well. Happy Friday. We are on to the weekend finally, and I've got a very exciting weekend ahead of us just because come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, I don't quite know how they're going to do it this time around just because HSR scheduling is beyond me at this point. But come Monday, we will be getting an early release of the new patch or version patch or whatever you want to call it for Honkai Star Rail, which is cool. It usually launches sometime midweek or mid early week. Basically, we're getting 4.3 a day early, and as a result, we're getting the character trailers a bit early as well. Earlier than I expected because Mortenax Blade trailer came out last night, and what is really interesting is that only his character trailer came out. So no Myriad Celestia, no animated short, no, improv tour trailer or whatever they've got planned ahead. They're only doing a single trailer for Mornax Blade, which is a bit, intriguing just because that is a Stellaron Hunter. Like, a Stellaron Hunter is always going to be a very pivotal, very important character for, the overall story for HSR. So I thought that was a bit interesting. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that decision. I think if they're going to, do a Blade SP, or maybe they're going to do another Blade SP in the future. You're right. Who knows? But if they're going to do an SP of a Stellaron Hunter, I was going to expect that said Stellaron Hunter SP would get a ton of marketing. But I mean, hey, I guess they just don't see Blade the same way they see some Wolf 999 or, potential future Firefly and Kafka SPs. But, well, regardless, we're here to react to the trailer. Should be a good time. It's a pretty short trailer. I was saying that it's not even 2 minutes long. I think it's like very similar to the length that Evanesia's trailer was. So that is the plan for today. So it's going to be a very short stream, as these trailer reactions usually are, especially if the trailer is short. And considering this is Blade, I also expect the trailer to be very action packed. So I don't think there's going to necessarily be a ton to analyze either. So yeah, it's probably going to be a pretty short stream, probably no more than 30 minutes. But I mean, hey, should be a good time regardless. In terms of housekeeping items, there's not really a lot to talk about. As I mentioned before, probably not going to be any streams over the weekend for ZZZ. Once, I transition over to do a Star Rail kind of version patch stream. Usually we kind of stay there for the entirety duration of the version patch. So we're going to react to Blade's trailer today. Come Monday, we're probably going to do a stream for his release. Probably not going to summon for him. We'll see. And then, the day after, on Tuesday this week, we're going to do obviously the main story for 4.3. So this one looks really cool. Himiko Mother is getting a ton of focus in this one, and that is exactly what I want. So a story patch focused on Himiko is going to be super fun. So that'll be coming next week. So yeah, probably no ZZZ streams this weekend. But who knows? I don't want to say, don't want to promise anything, but I might get the motivation to do Zenless at some point this weekend, because we do have Yidhari ahead of us in the main story now, and I would love to be able to get Yidhari's screen time in the story. So who knows? But I do think it's mostly focused on Lucia, right? Lucia is the kind of like story focused character for ZZZ 2.3. JD, what's going on, my man? We are finally doing some Star Rail, something you can relate to. Hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. Good to see you, my friend. Glad that you were able to come in a little bit early. We're starting a bit earlier than usual just because as you guys know, I very rarely do late afternoon streams on Fridays just because Fridays are me and my family time. We get together, we hang out, we have a good time together, and so and then when I get back home late in the evening, usually don't have the energy to go live. So thanks, a bit sick, but here I am. Hey JD, I am sorry to hear that, my friend. If you need to leave, don't feel like you need to be here under any obligation. Feel free to go. Take care of yourself. I hope you feel better. Get some rest. Eat. Don't forget to eat. Make sure you are keeping yourself hydrated and healthy. That is something that I find incredibly difficult for me to do when I am when I am sick. Don't worry, it's just a cold. Good to hear. Good to hear. Glad to hear that it's not anything worse. But still, take care of yourself. Colds can become something much worse if you don't take proper care of yourself. Get a ton of sleep, all that jazz. Here I am being a mother hen. But yeah, so that is the plan ahead. No, probably no stream this weekend. We'll see, right? I might get the motivation to do a ZZZ stream at some point. And then come Monday or Tuesday, we will do the 4.3 main story. Should be super fun. And after the 4.3 main story, the very next day or the day after, um, we will do the kind of story recap slash discussion stream that we always do for, Star Rail main story releases. So that is what I see ahead of us. And then once we finish that, back to ZZZ, and the grind is a real just because, like I said, we're trying to catch up to the main story as quickly as possible. I don't think we're gonna make it for 3.0 release, but at least I would like to make it for the 3.1 release when Remiel comes out. So hopefully, we can do that. Oh, probably 4.3 is the last patch of Planet Arcadia, right? I think it's going to be the second to last patch, just because Himiko SP coming out in 4.4. That to me feels like a big finale, right? Like a big, like, oh, we're getting the SP for one of the Astral Expresses, and they're rumored to be a main push and everything. So I do think it's going to be 4.4, not necessarily 4.3. That's going to be the last patch of the planet. So but I do think 4.3 is going to be batshit crazy. I think we're going to get a lot of really cool stuff in 4.3. Obviously, Asat Pramad is front and center. Every time you have Asat Pramad really doing anything in the main story, it's always super exciting. And like I said, Himiko is getting focus. Blade is going to get a lot of focus just because, he's like the only character releasing during this version. And yeah, I do think 4.3 is going to be very good. I'm expecting it to be kind of like as hype as Amphorius 3.3 was, right? Like obviously 3.4, like that's Finon's story patch. That one was incredible. In my opinion, 3.4 is the best story patch that Star Rail has done up to date. But people forget 3.3 was amazing with Aquila and Aglaya's death and Finon stepping up to the leadership role and the kind of Era Nova at the end. Like 3.3 was really fucking awesome, man. So I think this is going to be similar. I think this is going to be like the big hype before the big hype. It's gonna be fun. So all right, but let's go ahead and jump into it. Like I said, it's going to be a bit of a shorter stream. Shouldn't be too long. I've got the trailer already pulled up. So 3, 2, 1, bada bing, bada boom. Here we are. Mortenax Blade trailer. We've got it at about, yeah, audio is good. Closed captions are on. Let me make sure that my volume mixer is on as well. And okay, before we get started, for those of you who are watching the VOD or are new here, whenever we do trailer reactions for Star Rail, we watch the trailer 3 times. The first time through will be completely raw reaction. I will not pause anything at any point. I will watch the trailer through in its entirety, and you will get my full raw reaction completely blind. Once we finish that, we'll kind of talk about it. We'll calm down a bit. My emotions will kind of settle. We'll go back through the trailer. We'll watch it a second time through. This time, still, no pauses, no breaks, but I can kind of pay a bit more attention to the dialogue, to what's actually happening in the trailer. My emotions aren't as high. Adrenaline isn't pumping quite as much. And then finally, the third time through, we go through the trailer and we kind of take it not necessarily frame by frame, but we pause, right? We analyze, we theorize, we can kind of see what we can glean from the trailer by going, by stopping and pausing and taking a good look at the frames that are part of the trailer. So that is the way we do things. So just a heads up. JD, so will we get a weekly boss like 3.3? Who knows? Honestly, who knows? Um, my gut instinct tells me that they would not release a weekly boss back to back. So probably not, but I do think the boss will be pretty big. So, but yeah, it could also be that 3.3 is the finale and that 3.4 is like an epilogue, right? But Himiko SP being in 3.4, not 3.4, sorry, 4.3 and 4.4. Himiko SP being in 4.4 is quite telling. The fact that they don't necessarily have her for 4.3, I think the big stuff is going to be still a patch away. But all right, let's go ahead and get started with the trailer reaction. So the trailer's name is Nirvana. Very interesting name for a trailer. Like I said, very short trailer as well. So I'm expecting a lot of action here, but Blade action is never bad action. So I am all for it, and OST is gonna pop for sure because Blade's original trailer, that OST fucking popped. So here we go in 3, 2, 1. Ooh, starting with an eye shot. Shuhu? Ooh, Shuhu? We're starting with Shuhu tease. Hey yo, my boy doesn't know how to swim, get him out. Oh, bro, this music is. Ooh. Yo! What is this background OST?
The sharp blade must first be broken.
Ooh, goddamn. Ying Zing. God, this trailer is so stylish. Oh, Damien is going off. And here we go. Bro, Damien is so good. God damn, bro. This is so fucking cool. The OST here is fucking awesome. Ooh. Now, like, peace out of nowhere, huh? Ooh, there's Kafka. Ooh, Silver Wolf as well. Oh, I love that ending card. That ending card is so good. What a thematic way to show kind of like what this trailer and potentially what 4.3 is supposed to represent for Blade, right? Kind of what's going on, Stone? Good to see you, my friend. Just missed the first watch through of the Mortenax Blade trailer. I assume you're coming from Goldie Stream, my friend. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. It was a long week, but we're finally here. How you doing, Stone? Hope all is good. But yeah, trailer was amazing. JD, in case you didn't know, according to Hindu culture, Nirvana is the ultimate state the soul reaches after completing the reincarnation cycle. No, yeah, I'm not well versed in Hinduism or Hindu culture whatsoever. Let me make that very clear right off the bat. But I am aware of what Nirvana represents, right? And the fact that it is supposed to be kind of the kind of the soul reaching enlightenment, finding paradise and peace within itself. And then, obviously the reincarnation component as well. Nothing much, just preparing resources for Yao Guang Lycone. Yes, sir. Did you end up getting Fine on Lycone as well, or did you decide to skip it? Yeah, this is a tough patch for you, huh, Stone? I remember, when was it, Stone? Was it 4.3 live stream where we were talking and you were like, yeah, I need Yao Guang LC, Fine on LC, and a couple of other, maybe one other thing that I completely forgot. And we were like, And I was like, I don't know, brother. I feel like you're kind of screwed because rumors are that Yao Guang and Fainan are rerunning. And then they showed it on the live stream, and we were like, fuck. Probably just gonna save the Jades for Himiko and Red. Fair enough. Fair enough. No fucking. My friend. I mean, yeah, probably better to, if you aren't gonna spend money, probably best to save the Jades for the new upcoming characters. And obviously Himiko SP and Rin, very exciting characters to get. So JD, some beliefs say you can directly reach Nirvana if you open your 7 chakras. Interesting. I've heard the term chakra as well, and obviously the chakra or the chakras are used a lot in storytelling. Like you have a lot of fictional stories that use chakra as a power system, use it as like a some type of spiritual, system. But I don't actually know the actual real life connection and the real life kind of history and lore behind the Hinduism chakra term. Staying free to play till Himiko. Nice, Stone. I respect it. I I am also technically staying free to play until Himiko. I'm not summoning till Himiko. I don't think there's anything else I'm summoning for until Himiko. Barring the only exception is if all of a sudden, for whatever reason, Mortenax Blade is good for Himiko team, in which case I'll summon for him. But aside from that, Himiko SP is my one and only priority. As everyone knows, I have been excited for Himiko SP pretty much from the moment the game started and from the moment SPs were even announced to be a thing. I was like, I would love to get another version of Himiko. So, mainly because I want to eat you S1 Himiko. You and me both, my friend. You and me both. JD, you're pure free to play. I think I remember you telling me at one point, JD. Nah, bro, playing gacha games pure free to play is insane. I don't know how anyone does it. I play gacha games usually by buying the monthly pass for summoning material and then the monthly battle pass if there is one. So for example, for Star Rail, I always get the express pass and then I get the battle pass, right? So I can get extra summoning material and so I can get the resources to level up my characters. Even with those two things, I still feel somewhat constrained. Well, not so much so in Star Rail anymore, just because my account's been, around forever. But in ZZZ, I definitely still feel it. So I'm right now building Welt for Himiko. No, yeah, I built Welt a long time ago, which was, and even before his SP was announced, I like leveled him up. I got all his traces leveled up solely because of the fact that he was an Astral Express member. I was like, okay, well, he's a part of the Astral Express. I want him to be usable. And yeah, he now my foresight from back then is paying off. I don't have to invest resources into Welt at the moment. Pioneer Diver is his best in slot, right? I don't quite remember. I don't actually do I don't really remember what relic set I have on him. That does sound right though, considering the fact that he is Nihility. JD, usually what I do is not get too attached to a character in case I don't get it. Well, see, that's the problem, JD. I don't have that emotional discipline when I play gacha games. I will just experience a gacha game story, and if it's good, obviously I will become attached to the characters by pure instinct. And at that point, I will want them, and I have to summon for them. Like very recently, like the most recent example of this. I don't know if Stone or JD if you guys are around, but when we played through Seed's agent story in ZZZ, um, she like went from like a character that I was like warming up to like significantly, like I like Seed, to potentially my third favorite character in the game, and now I just missed her rerun, and my soul is in pain. So unfortunately, that is what happened. Y'all should see my HSR account. I have 3/4 of the roster. Oof, I wish, Stone. I wish. I'm close. I want to say I have like 50 or 60% of the roster. something like that. I have a decent amount of characters, not a lot, definitely not anything like Goldie, right? Goldie is an outlier, uh, to say the least. But it's probably because I don't go for light cones. I used to not go for light cones, and then recently I started going for them more often, just because I realized that in Zenless I always try to go for the W engine as long as I'm not doing too bad, just because I love the excuse me yawn out of nowhere. But in Zenless, I always try to go for the W engines because I always love the W engine effect. But in Star Rail, I also I realized recently that I love the light cone art, so I always try to go for it. JD, I've been cultivating my emotional discipline for years now. Well, you are a better person and a smarter person than me. The solution for me, obviously, is to not play gotcha games. The solution is to never play a gotcha game in my life and just play normal video games, and then, all is good. But unfortunately, I'm in too deep. Stone Yao Guang is going to be my fifth signature. Correction, it'll be my seventh. I forgot about Hyacinths and Sabers. I still need a summon for Sabers, by the way. I don't have Sabers Light Cone. I need to get it before she disappears potentially one day, just out of nowhere. Because I would be devastated. But not a good time to do summoning for me at the moment. I need to get as many summons saved for Himiko SP as possible so that I can spend the least amount of money possible to get her E2S1. Or the solution is to just get lucky, obviously, but can't rely on that. All right, let's watch the trailer one more time, and then we'll do frame by frame. But like I said, there's probably not too much to analyze here. I didn't think we would start with Shuhu right away. I don't know, Shuhu. Your voice doesn't necessarily sound very peaceful. You know what I just thought of? This is kind of similar to, the Don Hong animated short. Blade having an internal battle with his past self, or, the other entity inside of him. Once again, building their connection. Ying Zing showing up in the trailer for like 3 seconds. And now he turns into a mini nuke. A mini Nanook. Pun intended. Oh, the music in this trailer is so fucking good. And then he just cuts through. And at peace. Tempered, one might say. Walks up to his family, though Firefly is missing, unfortunately. I think. I don't see her there. And this is one of my favorite ending cards I think they've ever done. I think my favorite one will always be Sereni's. But having it go from like, very hot, very, red and orange metal to, okay, rain's coming down, right? It's tempering, it's the cooling off. Yeah, that's just great. And the star being the last thing that cools off. Really great. Stone, I chose to get sabers over archers because I thought it gave more benefit. Well, also because archers was free, right? If you'd summon a certain amount of times, you would get archers for free. And who wasn't summoning back then, right? Because Fate and Phynon coming out at the same time, almost everyone got the archer light cone for free, I feel like. JD, I wouldn't have met you if you didn't play gacha games, so I'm glad you did. Aw, JD. Hits right in the heart. No, yeah, obviously without gacha games, without streaming, neither one of us would have been able to connect. We, especially considering that we live in different parts of the world, and that's just sad to think about. The fact that there are so many connections that you would miss out on. That's what makes the internet and via the internet, gaming and video games so cool. The fact that you can find other people that are just as passionate as you, if not more passionate than you, and share your passions with them and exchange ideas and exchange opinions and exchange emotions and be able to find solace in that and find enjoyment in that. That's really fucking awesome. It's the reason why I do this. It's the reason why I stream. I've always said before that I just don't give a fuck about, you know, the numbers that are involved with streaming. Obviously, it's nice when I get decent views and such, but I enjoy the streams where I have zero people watching or like one person watching as much as when I have 20 to 30 people watching. And I've only really ever hit those numbers like two or three times, but regardless, the point is that, you know, this all is super super great. So So in this trailer, it made me want Blade a little more. I might throw a few 10 pulls in, but I won't go into soft pity. No, Stone, you gotta stay strong. Think about the Himiko SP. Think about Mother. Think about Mother. Don't become like Goldie. Yeah, but I don't have archers. I didn't spend enough pools. Oof. That just means, Stone, that you got lucky. Let's look at the bright side. You got lucky during 3.4 and you summoned Define on early or you summoned your fate early. Oh, JD, you didn't get it either? Damn, that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. No, yeah, I did end up getting it because I did summon for Saber. I summoned for Finon. I summoned for Finon's Light Cone, and I got okay lucky. I think with Finon, I lost my 50-50 at Soft Pity, but then like got him almost immediately after in like 10 or 20 pools. So, and then I think I got Saber on Soft Pity winning 50-50. I think that's how it went. Obviously, the stream's out there, so I can go back and confirm. Um, so, but yeah, bro, there's no shot I get early. I'll send whatever luck I can your way. I will. I'm sending you my luck right now, but I need it back by the time Himiko SP comes out. When Himiko SP comes out, I need every. I can't give you guys any. I'm sorry. I need it all for myself. I can't share. I'm gonna go to 70, then stop. Fair enough. Fair enough. And if you get him early, hey, that's a really good character to have on your account. One of the coolest things about Blade is I feel like he's so versatile. And I like characters like that. I like characters that can be used on multiple teams and be good. And Blade, obviously, being best in slot for Akron is super cool because Akron is fucking awesome. So, and also he's Blade, man. He's fucking dope. Did you just watch the trailer? It's fucking cool. He's a Stellaron hunter. So, anyway, like I said, we're gonna take the time to go through this. There's probably a few things that we can kind of see, but not too much to analyze here. Most of what I want to talk about is actually the audio of the trailer itself. Right, we get to hear Shuhu, which maybe that soft confirmation that Shuhu is somehow inside Blade, right? That Shuhu is still alive in some way, and that his consciousness is starting to form, and that Blade is gonna have to deal with that at some point in time. That is pretty interesting, and the music as well. The trailer was incredible. This being that we see, which is like supposed to be like I think some type of Nirvana-esque representation of Blade. They've got the same hair, right? This being that is like looming over Blade is obviously reminiscent of Shuhu. It is supposed to be a visual representation of Shuhu. And they're constantly throughout the trailer kind of not, I feel like, belittling Blade, maybe pressuring Blade in some way. But throughout most of the trailer, this is an internal struggle, right? Blade versus Shuhu's influence versus the power of abundance influence that is inside of him, and him slowly but surely kind of burning it away, coming to peace with what is inside of him, and finding control. Um, this is kind of like the shot of the trailer. Here's like the actual, like, very large, like, kind of like Shuhu-esque statue that is looming over Blade in the trailer, and Blade is just like laying down. He's just taking a nap, bro. The sword is impaled in his chest, but he's just taking a nap. He's just chilling. He's doing good. Also, hold on. I just got a message at work. I need to make sure everything's all good. Because though it is Friday, I am not quite out of it just yet. Okay, that is just a group chat. We're chilling. So yeah, Blade, he's impaled, but he's just taking a nap. It's all good. And obviously, this kind of Nirvana-esque statue representation of Shuhu watching over him. One thing that I do find kind of interesting is that Shuhu definitely seems intimidating, definitely seems like, powerful, and definitely seems like they're trying to manipulate Blade. But the language that they use, right? Our bodies are one. Why do you resist my blessing? And there's like also a few other things that he says that kind of like, it's clear that Shuhu is trying to get control of Blade, or at least control of Blade's body in some way, if this is his consciousness. But they're not necessarily making it out like Shuhu is necessarily fully evil. And I think that's something that we have to remember with Star Rail. Yes, the Path of Destruction, right? Nanook and the Lord Ravagers and all those, characters are destructive. They are dangerous, a threat to the universe, perhaps. But it is important to remember that the way that Star Rail's system and world building and lore works is that no inherent path is evil. They are philosophies, they are values, beliefs, and when you take a philosophy, value, belief, whatever, and you basically make it a tangible extreme, and you turn this tangible extreme into a path that you can follow in the form of that tangible extreme obviously being an eon, a god, and you basically enable an entire almost religious sect to follow behind this tangible extreme of a philosophy, belief, or idea, that is inherently dangerous and a threat. It's what makes Star Rail's universe so interesting. The very concept of path itself is a very volatile and dynamic and dangerous universal system. So Shuhu and the Path of Abundance throughout most of the HSR story is kind of made out to be villainous in a way, or antagonistic. But it is important to remember they're not necessarily evil. They are just one side of a philosophy that just coincidentally tends to clash with the objectives of the other paths that we are more closely aligned with, like the hunt, etc. So, anyway, let me catch up the chat because I just went on a tangent and I ignored you guys for a bit. So yeah, I see it as a win-win. I get him, good support. I don't pity for Himiko. Fair enough. But what if you get Mortenax Blade early, Stone, and in your mind, your brain is telling you, what if that was Himiko? What if I could have gotten Himiko early and I just didn't? I'm kidding. Summon for Blade if you want, obviously. JD, I got lucky considering I don't use money and I don't get LC. For example, I got Aglaya, Tribi, Casters, Finon, Hyslins, Hyacinth, Evernight E1, and Cyrene. For free to play, that's very good. I mean, that's pretty much the same characters that I got, except I got Cyrene E2. And then I also got Mighty. I got Mighty as well. And I'm not free to play. So yeah, pretty decent luck there. And oh yeah, I also got a few Lycones. Let's make that clear. Stone, and this all assuming I win my 75-25 for Yao Guang a Lycone. I also feel less bad pulling Blade than Asheville because he's more versatile. Yeah, well said. Though Asheville is very strong and also somewhat versatile as well. But Stone, I thought you already had Yao Guang's Lycone, so I wish you luck, my friend. Please do not lose your 75-25. That is always extremely backbreaking. Stone, I chose to get Dahong PT Lyco in case he doesn't rerun for a long time. No, yeah, I regret not getting it. I wish I had it. I decided not to get it, and definitely one of my bigger regrets in Star Rail. So no, I chose to skip her Lycone to save pools for Sparksy. No, I remember, but I thought you had already summoned the Lycone on the rerun. So you still need to get her Lycone on rerun. I thought you had done so. But anyway, going through, so we get this intro sequence, right, with Shuhu and Blade, right? Then you get Blade kind of falling into this ocean, like, basically it's depicting Blade going inside his inner world, right? Because he falls into the ocean. This is a visual representation used a lot in storytelling that is typically used to like show or symbolize a character kind of like diving deep within themselves, right? Like some type of internal turmoil or some type of introspection whatever you want to think. But this is what it's signifying. Because immediately after this, right, Blade kind of stands up and he's back in this world where we've seen this before, right? This is these flowers, this color scheme, the swords on sticking up from the ground. This is, I mean, we saw it all the way back with the original Blade in his release, right? And Shuhu continues to taunt him, and then bada bing, bada boom. There's a sword out of nowhere and internal struggle. Blade versus Shuhu, and he gets pretty manhandled here for the most part until finally, at the very end of this conflict, the blade kind of gets stabbed into his chest. Not here, not yet. Give it a little bit of time. Give it a little bit more. Ying Zing is fucking doing the forging, which it's showing his soul being like tempered and him kind of starting to control this power. It's a very painful process. This is what I was talking about earlier, right? This process, very painful, probably, extremely difficult for him to go through, but he's slowly but surely kind of, right, taking on this pain in order to be able to control this power. It's hard for him to do so, but the sword eventually assimilates into his chest. He starts to kind of control it in kind of gains control of the battle. He starts to slice through the Mara soldiers. They're just representations again of his inner turmoil. And he uses his ult at the very end to cut Shuhu and basically cleave him in two. Like he just straight up says, you know what? I'm not about this life. And he just cuts him in half, which is one of the best moments, one of the best shots of this entire trailer. And yeah, going forward, his inner world now is sunny. There's rain coming down. He's even smiling a bit. He takes a bit of a breath and moves forward in his life. Now towards obviously the Stellaron Hunters, Kafka and Sir Wolf. Firefly's not here, which kind of sucks. But it kind of, this is Planet Arcadia, no? Or is this somewhere else? No, that's not the same tower. This is a different tower. But yeah. And then, like I said, the ending card is amazing. So yeah, pretty short trailer, but definitely a very good trailer. The music's incredible. The visuals are also incredible. And for how short it is, there is genuine characterization here. Like this could be what his character arc is going to be in 4.3. And I think they did a solid job. It's a short but sweet trailer. JD, if I recall correctly, Castorus also fell into an ocean, then Pollux went yeet following her. It's been a while since I watched Castorus' trailer, but yes. So, and Castorus also has like an inner world in some way, right? The death realm where all the flowers are, and she kind of went in there at the end of 3.2. So yeah, if you ever see like the visual of a character and some type of storytelling, an anime, a TV show, a movie, whatever, a book, even. If you see like a scenery describing a character kind of like falling into the ocean and they're like, sinking deeper, and then that's normally a representation of said character going inside their mind in a way. Like they're thinking internally. Normally there's some type of internal conflict. You're about to get some introspection. So JD, unlimited pain works. True. Yeah, honestly, like it's like you've got all the swords. His animation is very similar to Archer's. Well, his follow up, right, or whatever it is. One of his skill animations very similar to Archer's, except the fact that he is in a ton of pain and torment constantly. Not to say that Archer wasn't. If for those of you who know your Fate lore, Archer also went through a ton of pain and torment. Stone, I'm scared for Himiko in 4.3. You know what, Stone? I'm not that scared just because her SP coming out in 4.4 tells me that she's probably going to be okay. Also, Copium. Yeah, also Copium. Her being one of my favorite characters. Man, they already took away one of my favorite characters with Cyrene. Don't take away Himiko. Don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. And yes, I know Cyrene isn't actually dead, but she's not going to show up for a while. JD, Fate lore scares me. Fate lore should scare everyone because of how fucking expansive and crazy it is. So, But the series is genuinely good. If you guys haven't seen the animes, like the main animes, Fate Stay, Night, the original of I forget when it came out first, but also Fate Unlimited Blade Works and Fate Heaven's Field, the three movies. Very good series. And then if you like the franchise, obviously you can go back and watch Fate Zero. Fate Zero also very good. So watch them do Chapter 9 again. Nope. Mm-mm. They're not gonna do it. I think a big part of why I don't think they're gonna do it is just because it would feel a bit repetitive, no? Like you already, killed this character once before, and Himiko is in a very similar role in HSR to the role that she played in Impact the Third, right? She's a mentor. She's very motherly, Obviously, their personalities and the way they behave themselves very different. Himiko in HI3 is a vastly different, personality profile compared to Himiko in HSR, but they have a similar role in their respective stories. So I do feel like it'd be a bit repetitive, and I don't think Hoyoverse would go for that. So like even like with like Cyrene, right? Like her ultimate fate is very different from Alicia's ultimate fate. Hashtag copium. I swear it's not copium. I swear. Come on, guys. Never let you go. Da, 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 da. I don't sing often on stream just because I'm not a good singer, but I will sing Never Let You Go. So, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna get chapter 9 is basically what I'm saying. I think we're chill. So let me go over if we're gonna be chatting for a bit. Let me go over here so you guys can actually see me properly and not like a tiny square. Though 3.7 was one of the only patches to make me cry. No, I think 3.7 might be the hardest that I've cried in HSR, which is probably why that stream did so well. To this day, the 3.7, playthrough or my reaction to 3.7 is by far and away my most successful stream of all time. Nothing really comes close. The only thing that really comes close is 3.4 when we did 3.4. But yeah, I cried very hard. You can go back and watch the VOD, and I was basically in complete, inconsolable for the last like 30 minutes of that story quest. I kept telling the story quest to end because I was like, I need to go to the bathroom and wash my face. So JD, it would be cool if Himiko SP has that song playing somehow like they did with Super Wolf 999 and Cyber Angel. You're there for sure. I don't know if they're exactly gonna do like a Never Let You Go remix. I just not it's not Never Let You Go. What's it called? Fuck, Final Lesson. No, it's not Final Lesson either. Nevermore, right? No, it's not. Hold on. HI3. Is it? Night Glow. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Took me a bit to get there. But I don't think they'll do a Night Glow remix for Himiko SP just because I feel like they're going to do another cool song. I do think Himiko's moment in the story whenever she gets her SP is going to be fucking amazing. It's going to be badass, but it's going to be a unique song, I think. But I think if they did a remix of Nightfall, I would be so down for that. But I don't think that's what we're going to do. That's all I'm saying. So it probably would be that 3.8 and a 3.4. 3.8, I think, was successful as well, but no, 3.7, I think is what you meant, probably, Stone. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Himiko SP. It's gonna be they're gonna treat her right. They're gonna treat her right. It's Himiko. It's the summer main push, right? They're not going to 3.8 because of Firefly essentially dying. Well, I didn't necessarily cry in 3.8. I did tear up a little bit because even though I knew that Firefly was dying, well, number one, she wasn't actually dying. She was just dying in Penacony, which is kind of sad because they did say that if Firefly dies in Penacony the way she did, she can't go back. So theoretically, she is never going to go back to Penacony. But if you remember correctly, we did use the Terminus strand, so Firefly never necessarily died. She is able to go back to Penacony because yes, she was going to die, but we kind of stopped that. So We still don't know if Firefly would be able to go back to Penacony or not, because who knows how the Terminus strand works. But I was aware that Firefly's death in 3.8 was less of like a absolute, distraughtness, like, oh god, she's dying. No, she's not dying. She's going to be around for a while. It was more bitter. Like it was like a hollow feeling in my chest that this character, my favorite character in the game, is having to go through this, and there's nothing that we can really do about it. So Firefly SP, please. Please. It's going to happen one day. Just I think it's going to take a while. So in 3.4, because of everything Finon had to go through. Oh yeah, very similar to 3.8 with Firefly. That hollowness and bitterness that I felt, I also felt it for Finon in 3.4. Like Finon's, the sadness that I felt towards Finon wasn't like depression or like this type of sadness that makes you bawl like a child, right? It's like a hollowness in your chest, a sadness that like it's like, man, this is fucking awful. But yeah, 3.4 was incredible though. There were so many emotions that I felt during 3.4. I think to this day it is still my favorite story quest that they've done. So, JD, honestly, I would like it when True starts playing at the moment Cyrene casts her alt. I cry. Playing HI3 made me a bit biased. No, absolutely. Like stuff like that I think is good. I like it when they make small references like that, right? Or when Cyrene shows up at the end of 3.3 in the Vortex of Genesis to, meet up with Finon and Lygus, right? And then, True plays and it's like a little piano OST rather than like a full-on remix of the vocal version. Those are what I prefer. I don't necessarily I don't think I necessarily would have liked a full-on like true remix to have been used in 3.7. I much prefer Ripples of Past Reverie. I much prefer that song over like a remix of, the song itself. But like smaller, melodic references like Cyrene's ult or, like that piano that they played that in 3.3, those are what I like. So having said that, if Himeko SP is going to get some type of Nightfall reference, I would want it to be something smaller rather than just like full on just reusing the song again. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. So no, the only quest that has come as close is probably 3.3. I agree. I think 3.3 is arguably the second best story quest that HSR has ever done. It's kind of close to me. My top three, I think, still. Obviously, we'll see what happens with 4.3 and 4.4. My favorite three story quests in HSR are 3.4, 2.2, 3.3. I think in that order, with 2.2 and 3.3 like neck and neck. Because I love Penacony. I am incredibly biased towards Penacony. Obviously, that shouldn't be a bit of that shouldn't be a surprise with how much you guys know I love Firefly, with how much you guys know I love Sunday, and just overall how much I love the Penacony cast. Yeah, should be obvious. JD, yeah, I agree. For me, it's 3.7, 3.4, and 3.3. 3.7 is amazing. It's very good, but unfortunately, it does have a few parts of it that, in my opinion, were not paced all too well. And while the 3.7 reaches peaks that, like, for example, I don't think 3.3 reaches. And I think 2.2 with the Sunday boss fight does kind of get there. I honestly, I would even say that 3.7 reaches higher peaks than 3.4 even at times. Like I think the most excited I've ever been in Star Rail has been 2.2 and 3.7. But 3.4 and 3.3 never had a moment for me that I felt like a bit bogged down, whereas 3.7 does. 3.7 is more of a roller coaster. It's more of a, okay, the highs are incredibly high, but the lows are a bit lower than, something like 3.3 or 3.4 or 2.2. So I know a lot of people say that 2.2 does have a couple of lows. I disagree personally, but that's the way I see it. JD, for me, 3.7, especially the part when they play the Morse code. Yeah. Well, that's Cyrene's trailer, isn't it? Or did I don't remember? Oh no. 3.7 does have a bit of Morse code. Yes, you're right. My bad. Also, really liked 2.5. Hey, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 with the second Cienjo storyline. Also, really solid story quest. That storyline is underrated. I think it's strong. And that's saying something because you guys know I am not very biased towards the Cienjo. I did not like it the first Cienjo story. I thought it was very mediocre. But the second one, they did a good job. So, but yeah, after like I said, my top 3 are 3.4, then you've got 2.2, and then you've got 3.3. After that, it's like a mix of 3.7, 3.6, and 2.1, I would say. 2.1 is so good, man. Aventurine is just peak from start to finish. It's hard to say, but definitely 3.6 and 3.7 are like right behind my top 3, I think. So I also like 3.8 a lot, but that's, I think, mostly because I'm biased. So, and I really liked learning about Fei Xiao's past. Yep, Fei Xiao is a very strong character, underrated character in my opinion. But unfortunately, I don't think they're gonna really use her too much because Jing Yuan is like the fan favorite, like Arbiter General. Um, and honestly, as much as I like Fei Xiao, I think I do prefer Yao Guang. Yao Guang to me is the more interesting character still. Fei Xiao is, I think, the better written character just because she got a lot of attention, and Yao Guang still needs a little bit of characterization, I think. But I think I like Yao Guang more. I also just like her design just a little bit more. I love Yao Guang. I think I talked about it, but going into Plain Arcadia, my favorite, like the character I was most excited for, aside from Himiko SP, was Yao Guang. Yao Guang was like my favorite character going into Plain Arcadia. That's not the case anymore. Now, honestly, I think it's Evanesia, but I'm not still making that decision. But yeah, so unfortunately, as much as Plain Arcadia has been super fun, I don't think any of the patches have like wowed me too much quite yet. So we'll see if 4.3 and 4.4 can get there. I do think the Himiko patch will get there, just because again, my personal bias towards Himiko, her being one of my favorite characters of all time, not even in the game, but I do also think that where the story is going, especially now that Asat Pramod has been introduced. Don't get me wrong, I actually do really like Full Wish as an antagonist. I think they did a really solid job with Full Wish. But with Asat Pramod finally coming into play, he has been done amazingly well in the little screen time that we've gotten of him. Like this is all we've gotten of Asat Pramod, right? We had the Myriad Celestia before Planar Arcadia, where he had a little bit of monologue. Then we had Asat Pramod confront Silverwolf in 4.2, right? Then we got Asat Pramod in the more recent trailer for the live stream for 4.3. And that's kind of it. That's kind of all. And obviously, we got Asat Pramod during the Lord Ravager trailer, Myriad Celestia reveal from a while back. But I'm not counting that one. I'm mostly focused on Asat Pramod and Plan Arcadia. So really, there's only 3 separate occasions we've gotten Asat Pramod and Plan Arcadia. And every single time, they've nailed it. Every single time Asat Pramod has been intimidating, charismatic, cunning, sly, mysterious, powerful. Like he is a antagonist, and I'm excited to finally get him like fully in the story. So, Stone, mine was Sparksy before Evanesia. I I don't necessarily want to say that Sparksy ever became my favorite, but after 4.0, I do think I gained a lot of appreciation for, well, more for Sparkle as a character rather than Sparksy. But yes, I think a lot of people were mostly excited to see Sparkle or Sparksy again in Planet Arcadia. JD, the interactions between Yao Guang and Evan SCR are gold. Oh yeah, they're fantastic. That's why I love Evanescia so much. I feel like Evanescia is such a dynamic character. She has such good chemistry with anyone on screen. I feel like her moments with the Trailblazer are great. Her moments with Yao Guang are great. Her moments with March were great, and Himiko as well, with the little interaction that they had in 4.1. Like Evanescia just feels like such a she's a character that is both interesting by her own, but also makes other characters interesting as well. So yeah, I was surprised by how much I ended up liking Evanescia. She's really good. It really pains me that I'm not summoning for her. I would love to summon for her on rerun if that's possible. Stone, I'm still wondering how a part of Ouroboros is on Planet Arcadia. Probably Asap Pramod, the motherfucker. He probably brought the. I'm guessing Asap Pramad's plan is to release the veracity in Planet Arcadia and just let it destroy the whole thing. But we'll see. JD, he's a very menacing handhead. Indeed, he is. Maybe the reason why he's so menacing to me is because in the 4.3 trailer, he was like actively like in combat with Himiko, and that is not okay. Himiko needs to be locked on the Astral Express at all times. She cannot leave her room because if she does, then there's always a chance that some bullshit's gonna happen to her, and I will cry. But I don't think. Jokes aside, I don't think Himiko is gonna die. I think she's gonna be fine. And if she does die, she's gonna come back, like revive, or maybe it's like oh, you were never alive in the first place, and now you actually are alive. Who knows what they're gonna do? So, but yeah, exciting stuff, man. Exciting stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here for today because it is getting around to the time where I need to head to my parents' place. So JD Stone, thank you so much for coming around, chatting it up with me. Always a pleasure to have you guys in the chat as always. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, probably no weekend streams this time around. I might just take a break from streaming for a bit, and then come Monday, or Tuesday, whenever the new patch releases, we'll do the 4.3 main story. We'll do that all in one day, hopefully, and then we'll do the recap stream the day after or the day after that. So, basically, just the next stream is going to be our 4.3 story stream. If there's probably not any more Blade trailers, so you'll see me then. But there's also the chance that at one point during this weekend, I get the itch to do some more ZZZ, in which case we will do 2.3 as well. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear, right? But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here for today. As always, anyone who's watching, appreciate you guys watching the VOD. Stone and JD, hope you guys have a great weekend. JD and Stone, if you guys are doing any summons, I hope you guys get lucky on your summons. I will catch you guys next time, hopefully. Again, have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care. Peace, late.